Hi, friends. Host Eric here, host Talking with Bad People. Woke up mad. Yesterday I put a couple of very angry videos up. I ended up taking them down because I'm going to get in trouble for bullying with YouTube again. Anyway, something needs to be done to fuck up the days of Anthony and Emily Lapalosa. I was thinking about calling them and maybe just, calling Anthony saying, like, you're a chicken shit little bitch, and then just hanging up. Just so he can remember that he's a chicken shit little bitch all day long, I mean, I've never encountered anybody quite as cowardly as those two people. All I want to do is hold them to account for their bad behavior. And they will do anything in the world to avoid that occurring. So naturally, I want to it's like they make me mad. So that interferes with my ability to sleep comfortably, sleep in and stuff. So I don't want them to be comfortable. I want them to know that every day I'm shitting on them. That every day they're not getting away with their bullshit. I want them to know that every day Eric is breathing down their neck, holding them to account for their bullshit. They don't deserve to be comfortable in life, They deserve to be uncomfortable. After all, they are bad, bad people. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to go about doing it, but I'm going to publicly humiliate those two people one way or the other. They need to be publicly humiliated. And ideally with a camera in their face, If there's one thing that any human being needs in the world desperately, Anthony and Emily Lapalosa need to be publicly humiliated for their bad behavior. It's the only kind of accountability there really is, But I'll start tagging their names on all my negative videos so that if anybody ever Googles them, they get the truth. Anthony works with like volleyball teams and stuff, girls volleyball teams. I would love to ruin his career. That'd be great. I'd love to make him homeless. Like he did his sister. That'd be great. That'd be appropriate justice for that fuck. If I could get him fired somehow with the truth and maybe call his work. The point is, whatever true sayings of words I need to say to whomever I need to say them, it's never slander or defamation, and it's always appropriate because these people are awful scumbags. It's a good suggestion, Horse Mumbler. I mean, of course, I could call all the people I know that are involved with him, his work, like the person who's going to marry him and his wife, and explain what an awful human being he is. So that he gets heard from other people like, hey, you know someone's calling around and telling us what an awful human being you are. The thing is, I don't understand how anybody who's as cowardly as he is wouldn't be negatively impacted by somebody pointing it out. Because he's definitely a huge coward, you know? He's done everything in his power to avoid me holding him to account for anything. But, you know, it really makes me want to show up at his wedding, crash his wedding with a camera and say, I object to this marriage. This man's a scumbag. That would be justice. And you know, maybe if we have the money to do it, maybe we will do that. Maybe I will fly out to New York and crash his wedding and live stream his public shaming. That'd be good. Mom will be there too. Can toss her into the mix. I mean, the answer is no. It couldn't inadvertently affect Rachel. Because right now, all contact with her brother and her mother is contingent on excluding me from everything. Not that her brother wants to talk to her at all. But he sent her a text saying, hey, I'd like you to come to my wedding, but Eric's not allowed to go. She said, okay, I'll go alone. All you need to do is agree to sit down to a video conference in which Eric holds you accountable. You want me to schedule a time? Crickets. Mom texted her, despite the fact that she had supposedly disowned her, and explained that Eric had acted in a way that meant she couldn't have a relationship with him anymore. Okay, well, actually, it's not what you said. You said you disowned your daughter unless she left me. So I told Rachel to text her that back. Were you lying when you said that? Of course, crickets. Crickets. Zero accountability. Yeah, I mean, your advice is well taken, horse mumbler. But no, there's no good in compromising with Hitler. That's the thing to remember, Peter Ntichi. There's a lot of people in the world who think, hey, things are more complicated than this. You know? Eric, you're coming into their family. People want to think things like that, right? No fucking way. Because there are healthy people who engage with one another in healthy and decent ways, and there are evil people who are narcissists, who have accountability avoidance disorder. And those people don't deserve to be treated like human beings, frankly. They need to be thrashed about the world until they get their fucking heads out their asses. They're evil, awful, horrible, disgusting human beings. No, you're wrong, Peter Ntichi. You're wrong. I'm with a human being. And because I'm a good man, I require others to treat her as such. It's as simple as that. You're picking the wrong place, for sure, to push back at all. You're picking, Peter Ntichi, you're picking the wrong place to push back. Stop being pals with Hitler. No, you are pushing back. So now you're pushing back and lying. So you're doubling down. I don't like that. Stop it. It's not up, then you're not listening, okay? So the problem's not that you're pushing back or lying, it's that you're not listening. Which is just as annoying. I just retracted it. My bad. You're not lying, you're stupid. Fine. If you really want it that way, fine. You picked the wrong time to push back, Peter Ntichi. I did not come here this morning to be mad at you. I came here this morning to be mad at people who really deserve it. So don't say, hey, splash some of that anger over here onto me. I gotta get more coffee. And see, that's the biggest problem with the world. It's like, I haven't considered that, but I should. I'm not normally spiteful like this. You know, it's like, I'm not somebody who goes out of his way to do harm, even to bad people. Okay? But I am just fucking appalled by how successfully they're getting away with it. You know, it's like, I hate that. I hate the idea that these people are telling lies, framing shit completely bullshit, and getting away with it. I hate it more than anything in the world. I know, you have no idea what you were pushing back on. And yet you just push back anyway. What's up with that? What's up with that? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Why do I push back so much against Eric for no reason? When I don't even know what I'm pushing back about or why? Sure. You said... What's in it for you if you were to follow through with that? What's the net gain? Is the juice worth the squeeze? If so, could it inadvertently affect Rachel? Also, I have no idea what I'm asking those questions to. Well, then don't ask them, dumbass. Yeah, absolutely. Here I am. Let me explain why, Peter and TG. Here I am expressing anger at a matter that's well resolved. Like Horse Mumbler says, these people have completed actions that require, or seem at least to deserve, some sort of response. You're trying to drag the conversation back outside the city gates where it doesn't belong. In other words, you're questioning the legitimacy still of my anger or sense that something needs to be done, rather than operating from the right position, which is, okay, the case has been made against these people in full. We don't return to that issue. And an attempt to return to that issue is definitely pushing back in the wrong direction in a literal sense. I mean, I don't want to go revisit the issue of whether or not these people deserve it, and et cetera, et cetera. That's been well established. Asking me to go back and revisit that issue is saying it's still in question. Is that pushing back? Yeah, absolutely. Do I like it? No. Because that issue's been resolved. You know, you don't have to be a geologist to get this, okay? This isn't rock science. As that stupid girl once famously said. What was that stupid girl's name? She used to go out with Carson Daly. Tara Reid. Dumb starlets make me laugh. Like Tara Reid and Jessica Simpson. Right. I don't need Neville Chamberlain in the room. Well, you know what's going to happen here pretty soon. And this is unfortunate because it's not that long since I started. But I'm going to have to put some music on and go get more cigarettes pretty soon. I've got a few long butts left. But it didn't occur to me, like it should have, to check to see how many cigarettes I had before I started this thing. But you know what? I really haven't pulled my morning bong rips. So why don't I pull a couple of those bong rips before I really start thinking about this? Peter, it's fine. I'm over being mad at you. Congratulations. I'm done being mad at you. So, go in peace. Good job, Ukraine. You mean getting over being mad at you? I've got other people to be mad at, Peter and Tichi. You're low on the list today. Okay? You are low on the list. Churchill was a great man. Just thinking about Churchill's greatness makes me feel emotional. He understood before anybody else in this country what needed to be done. Just like I do, really, you know? Like, this whole Ukraine shit never would have happened if I'd been president. He was somebody who knew what needed to be done, exactly why, and was unwavering about it. And the trick is this. There are plenty of people who are that way and are wrong. but he was not. You know, it's like you have to be both. You have to be both right and certain and unwavering and willing to do what's necessary, you know? But the most important thing is you have to be right. And that's the tricky thing in life, you know? It's like, I'm right, but communicating that to people in ways that seem significant to them in their lives, such that my rightness informs them in any way, is a whole nother ball of wax, you know? Like, I'm definitely right about Rachel's brother and mother. But they've done everything they can to eliminate the possibility of me communicating to them or people they know. So, it's like, I'm very much aware of, believe in, and an advocate of the power of words. But liars and scoundrels try to avoid my words, and therefore incur my unending wrath. Everybody needs to hear my words. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm going to be mad about one thing in the universe, it's that my words aren't loud enough. You know? My words need to be as loud as 1,000 nuclear bombs. No, but it doesn't work like that, Peter Dentici. It is not the case that what's needed here is for multiple parties to hear each other. What's needed is for everybody to hear me. Don't confuse those two things. The vast, vast, vast majority of people have nothing of value to say. Let's not lie to ourselves. And this is really the same trouble humanity's always had. The same trouble our founding fathers had. How do we make sure only the smart people get to be in control? That's basically the problem our founding fathers had. They weren't sure how to do it, so they said, well, white male landowners? You know, I mean, that didn't work. Obviously. It's the same question we've always faced. How do you get somebody good enough to have absolute power so that idiots don't fuck everything up? And there's no answer to it. There's no answer to the question. You know, it's like Aristotle figured it out a long time ago. You need a philosopher king. But how the fuck do you pick the philosopher? I mean, it's true, I'm the correct choice now, but I don't even want to be king. Obviously, that's what makes me qualified. In part. You know, how do we deal with a world that in which the person who most needs to be king definitionally doesn't want to. What an awful conundrum. What an awful conundrum. What are we to do about it as a species, you know? I removed those videos yesterday. Those videos yesterday were me overdoing it with the FI. So I removed them. I mean, the thing is, I'm willing to. It's kind of a perfect storm of things. I'm qualified on multiple levels. I don't want to, but I'm willing. But the problem is, in order to attain it, you kind of have to want to. I guess that's where a sense of duty comes in. But I'm such a 7. Yeah, it is an option to cut those people out. But if we're going to cut them out, I need them cut out according to our narrative, not theirs. Yeah, I woke up mad. Like, I want those fuckers held accountable. Patterns of Conflict by Colonel John Boyd. Sounds interesting. You know, it's like, based on my cognitive function bias, the worst thing a person can do is retreat from the metaphysical field. And that's exactly what Rachel's mom and brother have done from the very outset. They've refused to engage where I want to engage. Well, in this particular instance, Christine, Rachel's mother texted her yesterday basically saying she wants to reestablish a relationship with her that doesn't involve Rachel's mom having any accountability whatsoever, and that excludes me entirely from the equation. Now, the thing is, if Rachel wanted that, fine. If I were responsible for any of the conflict between Rachel's mom and me, fine. OODA. I hope that first one's not observe. Because if so, he's already off to the wrong track. It depends on the type, of course. It's only going to be true for epistemologists. But you've got me interested in looking at him. That's for sure. So the thing is, the cutting out always needs to put the ball in the other person's court. That's the key about cutting out. It always needs to be phrased like this. I'm sorry, I won't be able to engage with you further until and unless you meet the following criterion. That way, the ball's in their court. And they know that you're not eliminating lines of communication, you're just making a stipulation. Alright, I'll have to check that out. That sounds interesting. Studio by L'Oreal. How many people here are currently using a product made by Studio by L'Oreal? Anybody? 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 I'm not, but I wish I were. Alright, cool. I'll check him out. I hurt my arm right here, like a while back, and it still hurts a little bit. So now what is the question, of course. So now here I am. I woke up mad. Oh, okay. It's not descriptive, it's prescriptive. Okay, fine then. Totally different. If it's prescriptive, that's a different matter. No, I mean, well, Chris Tyne, she got invited without a +1. And she said, fine, I'll go to your wedding alone, Anthony, as long as you're willing to sit down and have a conversation with me and Eric. Would you like me to schedule a time? Crickets. And that's what I mean by cutting someone off by leaving the ball in their court. So they don't get to win the narrative, right? He has no response to that. He's going to just ignore it. But he can't win the narrative about it by telling the truth anymore. I probably just want to vent. I'm probably done venting, in fact. I have that hollowness in my heart that means my anger is gone. It's like what my heart's like West Virginia. And eventually the coal miners run out of coal to mine. Sounds like a good strategy, Horse Mumbler. My initial meowing of it was based on the notion that it was descriptive rather than prescriptive. Well, silence is a tactic because I keep pushing him into it. By putting the ball in his court in a place where he can't get to it, there's nothing he can say, you know? Any further conversation just hurts him because it drives home the point that there's a simple question that's being not answered, right? So he's making the best choice he can, given that I've taken away all the good choices. Right, but at least now, when he tells the story of this, if he chooses to, he can't sound like the good guy without lying. And that's important. Because ultimately, you never know when you're going to have, when that a certain confluence of events will arrive such that he's exposed as the liar he is if he were lying. You know? And I won't forget. So, you know, the important thing is to play the long game, you know? Always be right. No, I'm mad at Rachel's family. Always be right. Always leave the ball in their court. And then, if and when there comes a moment where you have the opportunity to cash those wins in, because like you've set up the narrative, so you've won this point, you've won this point, you've won this point, but there's never any acknowledgement of it, right? There's never any direct engagement with the person. So if you have the opportunity at some point, you've got all the ammunition you need. Well, this is only 50% likable, Horse Mumbler. The other 50% is pure shite. Hi, Chris Chapin. Are you and Chris Time part of the Chris party? The Chris party is a political party made up of all Chris's. Oh, well, I better hurry up and entertain people, huh? Hello, my darling. Hello, my baby. Hello, my good time gal. Oh, kitty meow. What are you doing? Kitty's been very meowing this morning because trouble's been around and she doesn't like trouble being around. And she's very skittish when she comes outside and looks for him and stuff like that. I ended up carrying her from inside over there to inside over here because she's so, like, right now she's slinking outside to check for him. I'm such a baby pig poop face. You know, if there's one thing in life that's true, is that I'm a baby pig poop face. You know? It's pretty hard to dispute that one. I am definitely a baby. I'm definitely a pig. And I'm definitely a poop face. There's no disputing any of those things. And at the end of the day, when somebody points out something bad about me, they're always pointing out either that I'm being a baby, or that I'm being a pig, or that I'm being a poop face. By pig, I mean, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, I mean, you say I'm not a pig. Really? Rachel and I went to 7-Eleven yesterday and got this big bag full of candy. And I can tell you right away, I've eaten at least 3/4 of it. You cannot tell me I am not a pig. There's a lot of candy. Of course, yesterday we also got, in addition to all that candy, a whippets and weed. No, I'm poop face. So when I say I'm a pig, I mean it in that way. I don't mean like I'm a pig with women. I mean I'm a pig with my gluttony. And when I say I'm a poop face, I mean if you disagree with me in the wrong way, I'm likely to say something like, "Fuck off, you stupid fuck." You know? That's kind of being a poop face. You know? So I have 3 flaws in life, really. Where all my flaws collapse down to one of 3 qualities, okay? My babyhood, my pighood, or my poop facehood. If you've got a legitimate critique of me, you're critiquing one of those 3 areas. That's why I'm baby pig poop face. I don't think anybody can deny that. I think 3DR Nomad, that you are connecting the baby and the pig too much. Sure, it's one word, but it's two concepts. Okay? Being a baby and a pig, one might conclude that I'm a baby pig, but really, sometimes I'm an adult pig and just a baby. Poop face is the facial expression of constipation and relief at the same time. Let me see if I can do that face. Is that the face? What do you want, mister? You're bothering my cat. Yeah, I'm telling you that right now. But in real life, a baby pig just represents Eric. Thanks, Christine. I worked on it for years, practicing it. They say that about any nom's really old, young and really old at the same time. So what's my old part? Is that the poop face part? I don't know. I don't feel really old. Well, I do in some ways. Like, I feel old in terms of humanity. Like, I mean, there's no way to say it. It's not, it comes off good, but I sometimes I feel like an adult among children, you know? But that's just about like political things and philosophical things. And it's not about the people around here, really. It's just like the general world, you know, and the absence of any kind of even awareness of a correct framing, let alone application of it. It makes me go like this. Sigh. And then most of the time I feel like a child among adults. The pig is not acceptable in the temples, and it is an abomination to the gods. Fortunately, my monotheistic God thinks otherwise. My monotheistic God scratches me under the chin. Well, thanks, Christine. I appreciate your kind words. I feel like I have things to say, things worth listening to, and also that, like anybody, I'm full of shit too, you know? It's just that I'm full of a better quality shit. I mean, yes, sure. I'm full of shit too. But it's like grade A shit. Alright? Like, if you're gonna have shit, that's the kind of shit you want. Note my above definition of grunkle-headedness if you didn't notice it already. I will look at it. I didn't notice it. Grunklehead. What I'm calling it when you aggressively argue the best card you've got, but it's not the best card there is, but you just want to argue the one you know instead of listening to the ones. I mean, I don't think that happens very often. I'm willing to listen to new ones. Sometimes I can be a little grunkle-headed. If I'm in the middle of an argument already, you know. And it's like there's two levels of correctness, both of which I try to attain at. One is I try to attain on an authenticity level, which is to say, I'm not going to spend a lot of time putting on affectations. You're going to get what I actually feel, and that includes the self-doubt parts and the yeah parts and the whatever. And it includes the parts that sometimes appear to be completely unreasonable self-confidence. So depending on what part of Eric you're witnessing at the moment, you may witness somebody who's quite open to critique or not very open to critique. Eventually, whatever critique you make will settle in and I'll think about it. But, I too am subject to what you might call conflicting event making. Like, I've made this event here in my mind that's happening like, yeah. And then some third party comes in and says, I want to co-opt this event and turn it into some other event. Like anybody, I'm resistant to that. But I'm not as resistant as some, and I do my best to consider the factors being brought in after the fact. The distinguishing mark of man is the hand, the instrument with which he does all his mischief. Huh. My hands don't do a lot of mischief. I don't think. I just think they do chief. If your hands are doing chief, you're fine. If your hands are doing mischief, well, you're doing it wrong. What's the opposite of mischief? Non-mischief? Demischief? That would be a mean urinal. Peter didn't teach you. If a urinal said that, every time I went pee, I'd say, "Aw." Well, you know, I guess that's how you perceive it. I have a finite amount of attention, you know? I've read it. Anyhow, I'm tired now. Good night, sweethearts. I'm going back to bed. Have a great day.